going on, man? Peace, power, and love. It is your boy, Joshua October.
And I'm Jimmy LeVar, and I'm just keeping it gray.
Yeah, what's up? My name is Splice, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles.
Show me how you get down. Get down.
For joining us. How's everything?
Life is good, man. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Joshua, the incredible young legend, Jimmy, pleasure. Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me.
No, yeah, super nice to meet you, man.
Same.
Yeah, no, and it's a great thing to have you here. It's a blessing. You know, you've been in the industry for quite some time, you know, with the DJ and the production side and just all around and even just kind of like all over the globe. So, you know, I kind of want to just jump right back into, you know, how was it, you know, coming up in the industry? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but DJing started off as a hobby?
Absolutely right. Certainly right. Yeah, you did your research, which is super cool. It's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. It's been, over 20 years of the DJ thing, and it started as a hobby. I've always been into music, which is crazy because like my family history is I have a father who was sort of an entrepreneur from the youngest of ages, but I don't think any of it was really music stuff. It was business. It was selling knickknacks like from 13 years old and on and restaurants. And, you know, his company grew. And meanwhile, my mother is a lawyer. And so it's completely different. It wasn't so musical. And for me, the one thing that I did notice early on is they had put me into a sort of art school where there weren't grades. And so maybe the arts were a little bit more valuable at the school. And so maybe that pushed me into like a musical direction. And so, yeah, for me, I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to play instruments. I wanted a drum set. That wasn't happening. But finally, when I was like about to graduate college, my dad took me and finally bought me the turntables and mixer. And so from there, it was just starting to practice and learn and like, you know, try to do what I heard these DJs that were doing on the radio do. And it was hard because it was like, I just had no clue what I was doing. And that was kind of like the early beginnings of it for me. And it was a hobby. It was purely a hobby. And, you know, I get a couple of those little like high school parties, end of summer. And then I went off to college, which was upstate New York, Syracuse University. So upstate New York. Yeah, shout out to New York. And I kind of wanted to get as far away from LA as possible for a little while because I always probably thought I was going to end up making LA my home base because that's where I was from. So it was home to me. But yeah, the upstate New York, I joined on a radio station early on. And then, you know, I was doing like the on-air stuff and, you know, fraternity parties, sorority parties, college events, nightclubs. And then, yeah, so that's kind of like even radio, a lot of radio.
Gotcha. I was actually just going to ask you about back in the day when you would like, you know, do these like DJ spins at sorority houses or sorority parties and fraternity parties. Were you a part of a fraternity?
I was part of a fraternity actually. And it's an interesting story because I had never even thought about joining. My dad was in a fraternity at UCLA. He had probably secretly made some underground calls to the fraternity he was in. And they made calls to the fraternity on my side, that side of the country, the other side. And then when I was approached by them and it was a random phone call saying, hey man, we'd love for you to come by. I was kind of like, who are you and how'd you get the number? And it was like, I went to the house and I kind of had to, I remember having a conversation and saying, look, like, I'm not a big drinker. So the hazing and drinking thing's not going to happen. My DJ and music has to come first and I'll participate and do everything. But like, these are the boundaries for me, you know what I mean? And I'm happy to do it. They, you know, kind of said, you know, we've all voted on you. It's unanimous. We want you in the house. And you know, there's the whole stuff you kind of got to go through to get in.
Yeah.
And I ended up in the fraternity, and I ended up being like the in-house DJ for all the parties, and you know what I mean. So
That's fire.
while everyone was getting all messed up and having fun, I was still like practicing my DJing and having fun my own way. But yeah, I was in a fraternity for the college years. I'm still friends with some of those guys to this day. Sorry,
What
go ahead.
fraternity was it?
It was ZBT, Zeta Beta Tau.
Okay.
ZBT.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad was in it at UCLA. I was in it in Syracuse, ZBT.
Cool.
Nice. And
how about you guys? Were you in a fraternity? Anything like that?
Jimbo?
I actually did a community service fraternity.
Okay.
It was called EOK. It was at FAMU University in Tallahassee, Florida, and it was a lot of fun. You know.
That's cool. That's sick.
Yeah, you know, once I finished high school, I was like, you know what, college is it's not for me. So I didn't do the college, but yeah, you know,
how'd you guys link up?
Jimmy, man, we've had each other on social media. Yeah,
so far back. All right, so really quickly, I'll just put it in a brief. There used to be a website actually called seemebecomefamous.com.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, man, this is probably at least 10 years ago, and from there we've just kind of always kept in contact, and then of course made it to a different website like Twitter, Instagram, and just eventually met and just kind of became brothers. Like as soon as we met, we were just like brothers instantly, and we both just kind of been paving this way for ourselves in completely different lanes, but it's been great, man. Like Joshua's definitely like a brother.
Yeah, his energy is, you can't, you know what I mean? Like you can't describe it. It fills up the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. No, for real. And likewise too, Jimmy is like a brother. And it's like, when you find those people, when you find those good people that come around, you got to keep them close, because we live in a world where, trusting people is very difficult, opening up, and even having those people, come close to you and trying to get to know you personally on that level, because of just maybe certain things that may have happened in the past of people betraying us or whatever the case may be with that. So yeah, when I linked up with Jimmy, it was just instantly like a brother connection.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. And everything you're saying is so true. When you've been through a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? A lot of betrayal, a lot of, there's a lot of, all of us, every single person's been through it. And, I think humans want to trust and believe the best in other people, but you always have to have your guard up, it seems like, or else, like if you're letting it down a little bit too much, people know how to move in.
Yeah. And that's, it's, how can I put this? I used to be the type of person where I let my anger or my emotions get the best of me. Then there was a point in period of my life where 3 months where I had a spiritual awakening. And that's when like kind of everything completely changed in my life, my mindset, how I looked at things, how I reacted towards situations, how I responded. And now being who I am today, knowing that, but still also knowing that you are strong as a human being, and, making sure that even though you're being genuine to others, and even though, you may be being kind to others, it's just at the end of the day, still being ourselves, because we're being true to who we are. We're kind, genuine people. But it's also kind of, difficult. Like you said, we got that guard up, because it's like, all right, well, motherfucker, when you trying to snake me, because I'm gonna get you before you try to get me type.
Yeah, I got you. Now, was there a moment that happened that caused that big change? Was there something where you're like, all right, like an anger thing that just, now you're like, all right, I gotta relook at how I enter situations?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the spiritual awakening.
Yes.
Yeah, so me and my wife, we split. She moved out. I was like, oh damn, she ain't playing games. Wow. She left, and we were together for quite some time. I never thought it was going to get to that point where she packed her bags and she left, but she did. And I had a choice to make. I could have either gone back to my old ways and not caring about things and being reckless, or making a change for the better for myself, within hopes that real love will reconnect again. And that is what happened.
That's amazing. That's the growth that you know,
Yes.
the human journey takes us on sometimes. That's amazing right there.
Thank you.
And
brother.
sometimes
Yeah,
it takes that to grow.
Also Splice. So talking to you, I get very lighthearted energy, like good charismatic type of human being in general. How do you protect your energy?
Wow. Well, that feels good to hear. You know, I feel like as I keep getting older, I still want to stay young. So that's kind of the most important thing. I always feel like, damn, I'm looking tired. I get old and I'm like, oh, my eyes feel puffy and dark circles. So I'm always, you know, a little bit aware of like my energy and how I'm feeling. But really, it's overall, I will say, part of it is like a clean lifestyle, which is to this day still, I've never tried drugs, which is a very weird thing. You know what I mean? I'm in an industry, in a world where I see it every day. It's around me every day, even from the fraternity days. Like I would wake up, these guys wake up, I'd open the room, say, hey, you want to grab food? And they're like, they hit the bong. All right, let me do this real quick. And then let's go, you know? So like, I'm around it all the time. But like, it's just nothing I've ever participated in. And also alcohol, not really by choice, but it just doesn't work well with my system. It's almost like poison. It just doesn't work well. I don't feel well. So like while I watch other people drinking, having fun, I've tried everything from people say, try, you know, pineapple juice in Malibu, or drink this like ciders, or drink beer. I've tried all of it. For me personally, it just doesn't work. So it hasn't been something that I've had a problem with. Sometimes I feel like I'm missing out though, because I watch everyone like really letting loose and partaking in like the vibe, the party. But I probably get mine just from being the DJ. And so I'm still kind of in it without, you know, participating. And I don't judge anyone that does it, because, you know, every person on earth has to let loose somehow. You know what I mean? Life isn't fun and easy all the time. And there's no judgment. It's just, you know, everything in moderation. You don't want to see someone take it too far. I mean, I think we've all lost people, and you know, the longer you live, you know, the more people you see suffer with stuff. And yeah, that's definitely unfortunate. But for me, I have a good balance. I try to keep a good balance in life, trying to eat healthy, trying to exercise, trying to spend time with family, trying to spend time with friends, trying to have a romantic relationship, and also trying to be there for the professional part, you know, which can be demanding. You know, you have to make money. Everyone has to pay bills. So when you have a client calling, or you have an opportunity to make money, but it's also on the same day that you have your nephew's birthday party, which one do you go do? I mean, there may always be more birthday parties, but there also may always be more DJ gigs. How do you balance all that stuff? And you know, if you're dating someone and you want to go get ice cream and go on fun dates and start eating more often, you start to put on more weight, and I think it's just about balance. And I like to think of myself as an overall happy person. I try my best to have a positive outlook. I try my best. It definitely, you know, gets hard. But I don't know. I think that's really it. It's just trying to have the most positive outlook you can, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge sometimes, especially these last couple of years. You know.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But, you know, like you said, you know, it's all about the balance. And, you know, key ingredient is at least trying, right? That's the first step with anything, is at least, you know, attempting to do it and changing. Most people can't even do that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You gotta clap it up for that, my brother. You know,
I like that.
Yeah, you know, because
I have like an inner circle of people, whether it's family or friends, that kind of keep me in check. So if they know something's off, they know I'm bothered or something's wrong, they're quick to be like, what are you really upset about? What's really going on? Why you know? And I'm like, I didn't get that gig I thought I was going to get. Damn. And that's why I'm a little more snappy or grouchy or whatever. And usually it's just the inner circle that you're more like that with, which sucks because, you know,
exactly. Yeah. Cause you know, those are the people that love you the most. So they want the best for you, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel you 100% on that, you know, and sometimes I got to remind myself too, in those moments where it's like, if something didn't go the way I was hoping, or if it didn't work out, you know, instead of me, you know, just like catching an attitude with somebody else who's just trying to like cheer me up, I got to just remind myself like, yo, Josh, just calm down. It ain't their fault.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and also, speaking of inner circle, I know you mentioned like your mom's a lawyer, your dad's a businessman, you're into music, you know, would you say that your dad's business mindset, and your mom also as well, business mindset, being a lawyer, being well organized, has anything to do with the way that you think?
1,000,000%. I feel like, you know, all of it. They're, you know, they mean the world to me. They're my everything. They're my world. And I tell them that, and it's definitely a mixed bag. I mean, to get a little bit more personal, I grew up in a very unique situation where my dad was born in the United States, Jewish, right? My mother was born in Egypt, and she was Coptic Christian. So she migrated with her family to the United States. So not only is the marriage different religions, it's also different ethnic backgrounds. There was, you know, like there's always family stuff even before I was born. You never know who feels what about what. And in their case, the love was the most important thing to them. And it was, they, you know, they formed a bond and had 3 kids, me, and I have 2 younger sisters, which we can get into later because they're both brilliant, creative, and successful in their own right, which is really crazy to see. But yeah, I think the way they think is different. My mother, as a lawyer, she does also what's called pro temp judging. She also does some judging. So it's weird to watch her in court being a judge. It's obviously like it's a trip, you know? But yeah, I think it's weird because even though my dad is a businessman and you know, the companies across the United States and different states, he's almost more on the creative side than the business technical side. Like he has teams of people that help him with the details that, you know, that maybe, I don't know how to say it, but he has a team of people with the details that like help the company run the way it should. But he also can be like a visionary with the moves that the company makes. On the other hand, my mother, being, yeah, like you said, the lawyer and she's so attention to detail. She has kept the inner workings of my life running, from all the financials and all the numbers and all the bookkeeping and all the organization. I don't have it, and she is the master at it. I mean, it's not like it's just me. It's like me and the business and her stuff, and she's on, you know, different like lawyer organizations, and she's the head of those, and she's on the chair of those or whatever, and then also my sisters. So yeah, I could ramble.
Give a huge clap for your parents.
Yeah,
because,
I mean, it's pretty wild, right?
Whatever they did is just like it's flourishing. That it's amazing.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you've been in the industry for a while. You know, just jumping back, I just wanted to bring up, you know, the CNN Larry King interview.
Yeah,
Can you tell me how that was, you know, that experience, you know, being young and being on the, you know, Larry King?
And the only DJ to do it.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. That one is crazy. It changed my life for sure. That changed my life. I don't know where it came from, but it changed my life. They asked me to go DJ a party for CNN Larry King Live. I had been DJing for a while, but only in LA and Hollywood for maybe like a year and a half. But I sort of got plugged in, luckily, to a lot of good spots. And that kind of helped because I was a reliable fill-in guy for DJs that were getting double booked, and they were like, yo, can you hold me down this weekend? Can you go DJ for me Saturday? Oh, these people asked for you again. So I started getting those opportunities in and around LA. And then when the Larry King people reached out, they asked if I would go DJ a party for CNN Larry King Live for him because he'd been in the air for 20 years. They're having a party at Spago in Beverly Hills. They needed me to DJ for an hour. I did it. And then they asked me to be a guest on CNN Larry King Live like 3 weeks later. And that one changed my life. I was nervous. I'd never really done an interview. I brought my parents as a surprise. It landed on a day after my dad's birthday. I asked him, please take the day off. I have something I want you to come with me to, and you and mom. And it's a secret. But yeah, I mean, being so young is the second part of the question, because it's wild. And you definitely are exposed to a lot of stuff, good and bad. You're exposed to a lot of love. You're exposed to a lot of fake love. You're exposed to a lot of hate. You're exposed to a lot of underlying hate where you have to figure out what it really is. Passive aggressive comments. You have to balance the good with the bad. And I wasn't really as mentally tough and strong. I don't have the thick skin that I hear other people have. And so I was sensitive and hurt and confused, but also thriving when it came to money I'd never made before, and business going well in a way that was confusing, because it's like it was just a confusing time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but yeah, it was definitely a lot. But you know, it changed my life for sure.
Gotcha. So would you say you're like you're hypersensitive to energy and what's around you?
Definitely like an empath. Yeah, I think so. I definitely feel like I am. I feel like when people are in a bad mood or there's something that's wrong, I almost feel it with them and for them. And sometimes I might feel it worse than they do. Like maybe I'm like, damn, like they should be really bothered by this, or I'm surprised if they're not as bothered, or I feel like they're hiding it from me and I know that they are bothered on the inside. But if they're happy, it's like I'm just as ecstatic right by them, right by their side. So I would say so. Yeah. I'm very energy driven. I think that's my logo too. Like the gentleman that helped me do my logo, he was like, yo, whenever you come to our city and DJ, the one thing about you is the energy. And I want to make your logo like almost like the lightning bolt emoji, if that
Oh,
makes sense. So like
wow.
that's really what it is that not a lot of people know, but that's the secret about the logo, that it was made. We went first with the energy bolt emoji and then switched it up to something a little more you know, different, original.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, you know, when you find yourself in, you know, in some of those moments where, you know, you go through certain situations, whether it's like, depression or, you know, maybe some anxiety, how do you cope with that? You know, how do you deal with those?
Therapy, definitely. I'm a big advocate for therapy. If and when you need it, it's definitely okay to talk to people.
Absolutely.
Talking to friends and family can be cool, but you definitely don't want to unload all your stuff on people all the time. That's just draining on them. And yeah, I think that like sometimes therapists can give you an insight into stuff that you already know, but hearing it again is okay. And also sometimes simple answers go a long way, where you're like, yeah, that does make a lot of sense, or your brain gets a little cloudy if you're feeling the depression or anxiety. I actually watched your interview with Little Xan, which was awesome, and you guys touched on anxiety, obviously, which is really important and cool, and he's open about it.
Definitely.
I've gotten some good advice from therapists, like for people that start to go through like an anxiety attack or a panic attack, where you obviously focus on your breathing, but you're listening to sounds and you're focusing your concentration on sounds and feels. So like instead of panicking or worrying about whatever is going on that's causing it, you start to like change your brain into like, okay, what do I hear around me? Do I hear a plane overhead? Do I hear the gardeners outside? Do I hear a car driving by? And then you start to the fabrics, like my shoes, my you know, whatever, like the shorts or shirt, whatever. So those kinds of things can help that pass if it's like an anxiety attack. But yeah, anxiety on a bigger scale could be, am I going to be able to pay my bills? Am I going to find a romantic partner? Am I good enough? Things like that. Those aren't necessarily a panic attack or an anxiety attack, but they're just things that you, you know, like, what does my dad say? You can't eat an animal, an elephant. Like, how do you eat an elephant? It's like one bite at a time or something like that.
I feel you though. I feel you.
Like that.
No, and that's real. And you know what, you know, when people are, because I mean everybody experience those things differently, you know. But there are some key things that when you are experiencing those things, you can do those things, like, you know, kind of just bring back your mindset to, you know, asking yourself, well, what is it that you're hearing? Go, why are you feeling like this? Or what's making you feel like this? And kind of just bringing your mindset back to, you know, here, you know, like reality, because we get lost in our minds, you know, as human beings. We have this thing that we like to put ourselves like 25 years down the line, which is great, you know, but most people have to also keep in mind when doing that, you got to also remember to be present in the moment and being balanced with that. Like that is so major, because you cause yourself to get anxiety and all this worked up over something that you don't even know if it's
Right.
going to happen or not. Reality, that's the reality. And the more and more I learn more about it, I gain more knowledge, it's sinking more into that, and just reminding myself when I go through those times and moments, like, okay, Josh, you don't need to do that. Why are you doing that right now to yourself? And I love that, how you're a big advocate for therapy, because maybe some men may feel like they don't want to let others know that it's good to go to therapy.
Right. Especially if you're an overthinker, which I definitely get told you're an overthinker. I definitely overthink. So yeah, when you said you've been doing a lot of research and learning more about it, where do you do that? Is it from podcasts like this, like the Little Xan stuff, or is it like,
honestly, Mother Earth, the universe? The universe is very loud. We just need to remember to listen to what the universe is saying to us during our days, because we're so busy, caught up in our 24 hours and on this phone 24/7, or on social media 24/7. So the mind is always gone 24/7, that we're missing the signs and the messages that not only the universe are bringing to us, but your ancestors, your spirit angels, and those main things right there are super important to always remember and pay attention to. So that's where I get a lot of my stuff from. And then also, doing some research and
I mean, but both you guys sometimes deal with, you like Jimmy looks so peaceful, zen, calm, and I mean, you talked about it, but Jimmy.
I definitely have my own anxiety things that I sometimes go through. Having a 4-year-old daughter, being 29 now, almost at 30,
For sure.
There's these milestones that as human beings, we all have them. I'm no different from the next person next to me. I'm actually done with this challenge I've been doing, which Splice, I want to tell you about this challenge. It's a 30-day challenge, and it's whenever you meet people, you treat them like they're the most important person. And I completed it, I think 5 days ago, and I just can't stop doing it.
Wow.
It's just kind of like the way I choose to live my life. And speaking on milestones, milestones could give everyone anxiety, or like just in general. But are there any particular, coming from someone like you, that people look at like they have everything, they're working, they're close with their family, they have all the things that people would want in life. Are there any milestones that you still want to reach that you haven't reached that does give you anxiety?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't have everything. That's the first thing to know. And whatever is presented on social media is always partially not true and always partially true. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not, no one ever sees the full story of anyone's social media. And I can tell you that I've been in places and rooms with a lot of people that also appear like they have everything. And it's an appearance, because that's all of our job. And it's just not true for anyone. No one has it all. So if you think you see other people that have it all, they don't have it all. They may have stuff that you want. You may have stuff they want. And that's just what it is. Like, I don't know, milestones for me. The second part, are there any milestones that that I'm trying to achieve? That was it. Always. I will say that, like, I've been a DJ for a long time. It's been amazing. I love music. I make music. I am putting out my own music. And guess what? I'm starting from the bottom. There is no advantage. Making music's a completely different thing. It'd be like me trying to become an airline pilot or something, where I literally have to be damn good at whatever I do. And it's not just like me being a cool guy. It's not me having like DJ experience. Some of my relationships could be an advantage, maybe, but if the music isn't fire, if it isn't great, it's the people have to speak. Like, no one can just push a button and be like, all right, this is the guy, we're going to push a button and boom. It doesn't quite work that way. There's always advantages, but yeah, for me, a milestone is like, I want to make amazing, beautiful music that resonates, that lasts, that's not just here and gone. And I don't want to be discouraging to people that that want to push the music industry, just be aware of what you're getting into, because like success in anything, it is a lot of work. Like we see a lot of presentations on Instagram of people that look like they're popping up out of nowhere and killing it, and friends with all these big people and yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
But it's not an overnight thing.
No.
It's not. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of ego checks. It's a lot of humbling experiences. It's a lot of comments that people make. They put you down in different kinds of ways, and you just have to understand how to work with all these different kinds of personalities. And I haven't mastered it.
No, yeah. And I mean, you know, when it comes to mastering, you know, I mean, who is a master, right? I mean, we are all, you know, we're still learning, we're still growing, we're still evolving. And that's gonna continue to be a thing. And you know, with being in the industry, being a DJ and doing all that you have done with that, 2012, really quick, first tour, Asia.
Yeah, wow.
How was that experience?
Yeah, it makes me happy to hear that. That's crazy. That started from one of my best friends said there's a new club opening up in Taiwan. They would love for you to go be the DJ for the grand opening.
Oh, wow.
That led to another really great friend of mine, another one of my best friends, who said, let's turn this into a tour. We're going to be going to Asia, so let's see what we can do. So he starts making calls and reaches out to another gentleman who also became another one of my, you know, great best friends. And he turned it into Singapore, Malaysia, China, Japan. Wow. We hit Thailand, and yeah, Asia tour. And now suddenly we're around the world. You know, I've already been to Europe and the Caribbean, a lot of places, Canada, Mexico. But yeah, now Asia for my first time. That was one of the few places I had never actually traveled in my whole life. So what's it going to be like to go to China and Japan and Singapore and Malaysia? And yeah, it's just it's a life-changing thing. It really is a life-changing. Travel is such a life-changing thing. I mean, the more traveling, I always try to encourage, if you can do it, however it comes about, the more traveling and exposure you can get to the whole world, the more depth you're going to add to your sort of, I don't know, outlook on the world. You know, the more traveling you do, the more exposure you'll have, and it changes everything.
Yeah. So funny. Asia. I was in Japan I was doing some work over there in Japan. I know my boy Joshua was in China.
Yeah, wow.
Hong Kong. Well, Hong Kong, not China.
Hong Kong is crazy.
Oh, you're Hong Kong. Oh, okay.
Hong Kong's crazy.
It was lit.
Yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah. But when you speak on like adding depth to, like, you know, just on your aura in general, you know, I think that's so true. There's a funny thing that, well, I wouldn't say funny thing, but also a very spiritual thing that happened while I was in Japan. I actually had dreadlocks at the time, and there was a particular dreadlock that was, you know, getting ready to fall out. It was dry, you know. It was like it was just gonna fall out my head, you know. But while I was on the beach in Japan, I was actually in Okinawa, and I like ripped it out. I mean, like, not, you know, very hard or anything, like, right. You know, we need a sound effect for that. But there was this thing, and on the beach, it was like almost like this burial, like there was like rocks and like this, it looked like this spiritual thing that kind of opened itself to me, so to speak. And so I buried my hair. Okay. And in a weird way, it's kind of always made me feel like I was connected to Japan.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
So just throwing that out there.
That's
Since we're talking about Asia, it made me think about my hair in the middle of, dug down in the beach.
Japan is a special place. It's a special place. I think I went to Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo, and it's it's a special place, Japan. Wow. Right?
Yeah, it is.
It's not as much ego. You know, I know that here in LA and in the United States, a lot of ego. And in Pride Japan, and ego. It's a different thing. You know?
A lot of respect.
A lot of respect, kindness.
Yeah.
It's softer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And that's what I learned too about the Asian culture, and even being in Hong Kong, you know, again,
Definitely.
people are so polite. The culture is
Yep.
so different out there. A lot of them are family oriented.
Yep.
You know, out here in the US, there's a problem with pride and ego. It's a big thing, you know, and you go to your specific states, you'll find it. You know, you got
Yeah.
New York, LA, you got Atlanta, you know, Miami.
Right.
You know, all the hot places is where you'll find that pride and ego. And yeah, you know, I mean, as we getting ready to wrap it up, you know, I got just a couple more questions for you, my brother.
Certainly.
The biggest event that you DJ'd, go back, the Grammys.
Yeah.
How was
Yeah.
that experience? Because that was, you know, red carpet, the Grammys, one of the biggest, you know, TV shows. How was that experience?
Yeah. So overwhelming, you know, in a time when nothing really felt real, and you get a call that the Grammys want you to come perform, and they change their talent every year, and this year you get the call, and you know, they say, we're going to get you the dressing room, we'll get you the carpet passes, the limo passes, you're going to, you know, the whole thing. You're going to be sort of entertaining the entertainers. And you're sitting there like, damn, it's just overwhelming. Yeah, it feels crazy. You know, like I invited my family. It was just like, yo,
Wow.
I want to share this with the family because it doesn't feel real to me. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's surreal when you're doing it. You know, you show up, you see all this stuff on TV, you know, obviously like I'm performing. So like I have been practicing my DJ stuff. So like, you know, I'm excited to share everything I've been performing. I want to see how it works because that's like what I'm there for.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, basically it's surreal. It's crazy. It's another moment that's unforgettable for the rest of your life. People used it on flyers for like years and years to come because like, it's just one of those things that like,
Yeah,
it helps sell. So it's just, all of that was crazy. And I'm super grateful. You know, it's very humbling. It's still very like surreal still. Like you feel like a little kid that was practicing DJing at home. And then like you're put on these different stages. It's just like, it's just wild. It's wild.
yeah.
Still.
Yeah. No, I agree. And you know, I came across something. I can't really remember exactly what it said word for word, but it was kind of like, you know, we don't really realize that when we're making memories, you know, like in the past when we were younger and kids and how we were doing all these fun things, we were just being in the moment and we were having fun, not realizing that we were creating all those memories that now we look back as adults and say, wow, that was a fun time, a good experience. And yeah, you know, it's crazy, you know, just again, how life is, how time is, how the universe works.
And you have to understand, like when I'm there, I'm crisscrossing and mixed master like with everyone, like all these celebrities. I mean, it's like you're sitting there like playing it cool, but like this guy's walking by, that guy's walking by, and this girl and that girl, and like everyone is looking so good. And then they got their whole teams with them. They have the publicists and their security guards. So, you know, like you're standing there and it's just like your head's just like, you know, man, play it cool. But this is like, there they are. Everyone's just there. And they're all hustling.
Does it ever get old?
Does it ever get old? Yeah, it does. And that's a crazy thing to ask, because what do you do when it gets old? Not that I'm like, not phased. How do I explain it? It's not that you're not phased. It's just, your perspective changes. And that's the part that gets old. Not that like it gets old and boring. It's just perspective changes. Things that, and this happens to everyone on earth. Everything that was at one time thrilling does start to lose its thrill. Maybe that's why some people get divorced. Maybe that's why some people change careers. Maybe that's why some people change music taste. Just things that were at one point really thrilling don't have that same effect. And I'm worried maybe that's what happens with drugs. I don't know, but with drugs, the drug that had its effect doesn't quite have it in the same way, and so they do more, right? That's a big conversation, because what do you do when it doesn't get old? It kind of just isn't as thrilling sometimes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that's important that that's explained in that way, because I feel like people need to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm loving the fact that we're just splicing it all together.
That's
We
dope.
mixing it up, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and my brother, is there anything right now currently that you have going on in the works? Any new music?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I'm
forth?
glad you asked. Yeah, I have an album of music coming out, but it's going to be single by single. So,
Okay.
keep an eye on my Spotify or anywhere you check music, Apple Music, Amazon, Splice. Just that's it. SPLYCE. So the first single should be coming out in the next couple of weeks, which is called Lollipop, which is an amazing song, super fun. Actually, I was going through a breakup when we wrote this album, and that was amazing. So yeah, this collection of music that I have that's coming out is amazing. I have a music recording studio here in Los Angeles, California. So I always have artists come into the studio. You can see part of it behind me.
Nice.
So
Wow.
people come in here. Sometimes I do the engineering. Sometimes we have other people doing the engineering. But the studio's been fun. We had David Hasselhoff here do his last album. So that was really wild. But he was coming here and recording. I did all the engineering the vocal engineering for that project. And then my DJ stuff. So all my DJ stuff, I think I'm doing a pool party at the W Hotel this weekend, and then, some traveling coming up. So festivals, parties, nightclubs, weddings, a full gamut of everything,
Yeah, if we're all ever in the same city, we have to do something.
Yes, please.
Oh yeah,
that would
definitely.
be cool. That'd be perfect, Jimmy. I like it. Yeah,
that'll be dope. That'll be dope. And last question as we get ready to wrap it up. With everything that you currently got going on, I wanted to ask you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as an influencer, what is your message that you want to get spread out to the world, and for those people that are overseas or people who may need to hear a certain message? What is the message that you give to those people?
The first thing is don't give up. Don't give up. The second thing is we do see a lot of influences outside of having the most money, the hottest girl, the best car, the best job, the coolest clothes, women, men, both competing. Like, you can't compete against things that aren't real, non-reality. And a lot of what we see is not real. And if you try to compete with things that aren't real, you are going to it's like self-demise. Don't give up, keep pushing, watch the ego, keep it in check. Healthy competition is good. I like to have healthy competition because it makes me better, stronger, faster. And I think that is important, but really kindness, love. Obviously, it's heartbreaking to open up the news daily and see stuff, tragedies that just shouldn't be happening, and there's no explanations why. I want to introduce my dad. Come here, come say hi real quick. Come say hi real quick. Come here. My dad's in here.
Come on in.
What's
Don't
great?
be shy.
He stopped by my house today. I'm like getting out of the shower. He goes, "What are you doing? You here?" I said, "I'm here." He goes, "I'm in your front yard." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So, I said, "Yeah, I got this really amazing podcast. Come say hi." This is
Hello. What is going on, brother?
Say hi to the old man.
The legend.
The legend himself.
Old guys.
You created another amazing legend right here by you,
Well, no, you guys are just terrific. Sitting here listening to how you speak, how poised you both are. The idea of what you're doing is just, it's so conversational. It's relatable.
Yeah.
People who actually listen to you learn something. And I've just been listening, hearing how mature you are for your age and how wonderful it is of what you do. And what Michael was saying is you can't eat an elephant in one sitting. You just have to take one bite at a time. And you know what? You'll get through it. You really will. You'll win.
I love it. And you heard it here. And that is all the time that we have. You already know the vibes. Peace, love, and power. It is your boy, Joshua October.
I'm Jimmy LeVar, and I'm just keeping it great.
Yo, this is Splice. Much love. It's an honor. Thank you guys for having me. It was an honor.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my brother, for being here. Vamp Podcast Season 2, The Online Experience.
You already know.